Okay, welcome to it. It is Altitude After Dark. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a wonderful day with your families and everything treated you well. We're here to talk about the Broncos getting the nice win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know it's a matchup, and Coach Sanford will join us here in a little bit. And I do understand where people are going to be frustrated and upset and we'll get to as many as your comments as we can, but we have to realize something. The other team has something to say about it too, and the Broncos destroyed the Chiefs. I know it didn't feel like that because it came down to the last drive by the Chiefs, right? And the Broncos had to make a stop, but let me go over some of these numbers that were just really amazing. Chris Oladokin threw for 66 yards on 13 of 22. They had 19 rushing plays. Guys, that means they had 41 plays. That's it. 41 plays. Time of possession, 39-28 for the Broncos, 20-32. 19 more minutes, more than a quarter's worth of time of possession. Yes, the Broncos had 5 penalties. The Chiefs only had 2. The first penalty that the Chiefs had was Chris Jones, where the Broncos drew them offsides. And I want to wait for Coach to get here to talk about the specifics of that, but it's pretty interesting. In terms of total yards, passing yards, 175 to 57. Rushing yards, 128 to 82. Third down, the Broncos were 11 of 18 on third down. That is unreal. And 1 for 1 on fourth down, whereas the Chiefs were 4 for 11, which isn't bad, but 11 for 18 on third down? My goodness. 71 plays to 42 plays. Total yards, 303 to 139 on 8 drives. Guys, if the Broncos didn't have what was basically a miracle interception, let's be honest, okay? If they don't give that up and the Chiefs don't score a touchdown off that drive, there's no way the Chiefs are getting any more scores in this game. And let's give them another field goal just for the hay of it. And that game is probably 27-9. A 27-9 final would have been more indicative of way this game actually went, which would have been almost identical to what the Titans did against the Chiefs as well. Okay, so I know it's frustrating, and it is frustrating the Broncos don't get more takeaways, but they are a staggering 11-2 in one-score games, 6-1 in games decided by less than 3 points this year. They are a clutch team, and they come up big when it matters. And this is the first win the Broncos have had in Kansas City since 2015. So, again, I think we need a little perspective as to what really happened tonight. It was an ass kicking. It was an unmitigated ass kicking, except it didn't feel like that on the scoreboard. Now, why did that happen? Well, let's give the Chiefs a little bit of credit. Bo Nix said, yeah, they were ready for a higher pressure game. And I'll just bring Coach into this conversation because now we'll get into some of the X's and O's. Coach, I just gave a little synopsis of what was going on, and I want your take on the X's and O's of it so we can understand better what actually happened in this game. As we do so, it's important to mention that we're brought to you by our great friends at Journey Spice, and you can save 10% using the code GETSPICY at Amazon.com. Journey Spice is spectacular, and some of the recipes they're cooking up are just phenomenal. It's incredible what you can do with Journey Spice, which is organic. You can use it on multiple meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is just a small sample of what you can do with Journey Spice. Just use this QR code and get started for 2026. All right, Coacher, let's talk about some X's and O's, all right? And when Sean says, and Bo said, by the way, afterwards, they were surprised Kansas City wasn't having a higher pressure defense and was playing a soft zone, too deep safety sort of look. Talk us through the defensive approach by Steve Spagnuolo of the Chiefs and why and what he was trying to do to the Broncos.
Well, it's so interesting because Steve Spagnuolo is just notorious for being one of the best kind of mad scientists. Just dial it up and get out his beakers and start mixing in all kinds of different things. And he's one of those guys that you do feel like as a play caller, you got to prepare for his pressures. You got to prepare for his varied looks of fronts and coverages and blitzes and cover zero and zone pressures, man pressures, all the variety. And it was interesting. I saw the stat. I think we were going into the fourth quarter, about midway through that fourth quarter. And the broadcast crew, I think it was Herbie, said Spagnuolo's he's only blitzed 5 times.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, like that's a very low percentage. That'd actually be more consistent with like a Vic Fangio defense, which by no means is Vic Fangio a passive, conservative defensive coordinator, but his defensive scheme is based off of playing a too high structure that sometimes feels like a cover 2. And when I say cover 2, and that's what Spags is doing a bunch of, 2 means that you have 2 deep safeties that are splitting the deep halves of the field. So each half of the deep field is divided up by a safety. And so the underneath coverage is going to be your corners that are playing the flats, and they're basically trying to jam the receivers. And then you have, a lot of times you have 3 or 4 underneath players in addition to those 2 corners. So it's a way for you to slow down the inevitable, I guess. That's how I would say for Steve Spagnuolo. Like the why for him is we're probably going to lose, but maybe Bo Nix will throw an interception,
which he did, right?
Yep. And maybe we'll give Chris Oladokun a short field, which they did
one time, a couple times actually.
Maybe we'll make the Broncos have 4 drives that go 14, 15, or 16 plays, which
they did. Right.
And ultimately, the only downside that I see of tonight from a schematic perspective, and this is interesting. I didn't get into this on the Mile High postgame live show on Altitude TV because I didn't want to go too far into the weeds. But
let's go.
As a college football coach, we'll call it high stakes college football. So Big Ten, Pac-12 when it was in its heyday. Notre Dame when I was the offensive coordinator there, even a place like Boise State. I know it's Group of 5 football, but the expectations to win and put forth, amazing offensive game plans, it's pretty real, right? The pressure's there. You would go in and you would game plan and have the call sheet, the one that Sean has that's always shaking, right? On TV, it's like makes me nervous watching that, man. Yeah, I get nervous watching that thing, man. That becomes sometimes it's supposed to be your greatest Rand McNally atlas for that game, but at times it becomes your biggest detriment when the team that you're facing decides to say, yeah, we're not going to do anything that we did on tape. We're not going to do the stuff that we did on film that we know your sheet is it's all game planned to destroy everything that we've put out with tendencies and analytics that you would say that's what they're going to do. So the thing for me, DMac, that I've grown the most in my play calling career, 5 games into my high school career as a head coach this year, I was like, nobody plays us the way that I game plan. Like nobody plays us. Everybody just changes their entire structure. And I'll never forget, we're playing against Ralston Valley this year. And I'm like, yeah, they're exactly opposite in their front, in their coverage, in their blitz, everything. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to take this sheet and I'm just going to call it off of what I see. And so I had to learn that as a high school coach, man, of all places, that you've got to be able to just freaking say, you know what? This sheet blows right now. My sheet sucks. And I might have spent 120 hours on this damn thing, but it's a lot smarter for me to just go back to the things that I know are going to work against these particular looks from 20 years of football experience, or in the case of Sean Payton, 42 years of coaching football experience.
Sean Payton said tonight, it doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing to be effective. And at halftime, when he was doing the halftime interview, and he gives a lot of stuff away, by the way, which is kind of cool. It's why I guess you should do some of these halftime interviews. He said they're playing soft zone and we have to run it more. He said that going into the locker room.
Heard it.
And it was like he was kicked. It's exactly what you're saying. He just said it out loud. Like, they're not doing what we thought. I got to run the ball more against this because this is what we do. We do, or short yardage passes, which are essentially a handoff, a short handoff. And I know like the numbers are 38 passes, 32 rushing attempts, but look at the air yards for Bo Nix, coach. I mean, we're talking some real dinks and dunk that work for first downs. And then when you get into some of the numbers, I mean, it's like, it is mind blowing. First down. Well, first of all, 11 for 18 on third down, 71 plays to 42. The time of possession was 19 minutes in the Broncos' favor. And Bo Nix didn't have huge, passing numbers, but the game was like lightning fast. You didn't have a lot of opportunity for sort of quick strikes. They weren't going to give that to you. So Bo Nix talked about it. Sean Payton talked about it. Coach, they were surprised. They thought there was going to be way more pressure by the Chiefs, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah, it took a little while to get to the adjustments. I don't know, man. Like there's I just want to see when you play against a team that's going to say, we're going to play a soft shell zone coverage. We're not going to pressure you. I just want there to be a very clear run game answer.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like the Broncos are a bad run game. I don't think they have a bad offensive line. I don't think Zach Strief is a bad O-line coach. I don't think even Sean Payton is necessarily a bad play caller of the run game when he decides to do it. I just don't know that I see a real identity in what the Broncos run game is in a game like this.
Well, it should have been stronger to start with, but I just got to go back. Like, the Broncos have been okay in the red zone, and they came up short twice. Well, that hurt. That sucked. Yeah. Okay. The interception was a Christmas miracle. It really wasn't a bad pass. It was a great play.
It was a bad decision though. My dad with 45 years of coaching experiences here, watching, he's here from Vegas for Christmas Day. And we both watched right when the ball lands, both my dad and I are like, oh, what are you doing? And that was before the interception. Like, we're like, it's just, you're throwing into a bad spot. You're kind of just, it just wasn't, it was like, a couple of those early on, I felt like Bo should just run. Run. And he did. And
he did later.
And he did. And it was great. And it made a difference because, man, like, consider me jaded, consider me negative, whatever you want to say. I don't know that I fully trust the sample size of the Denver Broncos offense in a world where Bo Nix is going to say, nope, I am a thrower of the football first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and only as a very last resort, I'll run the football. That team needs to run the football. For this team to win playoff games, Bo Nix, in my opinion, is probably going to have Josh Allen rushing numbers. And for whatever reason, he's very reticent to do so.
I want to get into a couple of other let me just go this. We know more information because Sean talked about the pivotal moment, whether they were going to kick the field goal or they were going to go for it on fourth down. He unequivocally said, Coach, they were going to take the delay of game and kick the field goal. So at no point were they going to snap that ball. No point. The name of the play is called Harrisburg. He didn't have a specific reason, but on Harrisburg, you don't snap the ball. It's not a question. Like, you can't screw that up. And that's when they were in that funky formation. Was it R.J. Harvey in the back?
Wildcat.
Okay, so it's R.J. Harvey and both spread out. It was Quinn Miners who was calling out the signals. How about that?
So the cadence is on Quinn Miners. He looked so excited when he saw the movement from it was Chris Jones, right?
Chris Jones. Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
yes, and it was Miners that once he saw Jones, he reacted.
Yep.
And Quinn Miners gets a huge. Actually, he gets something. I didn't say this on the TV show. He actually gets something else specifically. He gets Air Jordans from Sean Payton for him and the entire offensive line. Literally, He
I
gets
love that.
rewarded for that. Sean Payton has a reward of Air Jordans for the entire offensive line because they got him to jump. There's actually an incentive there. How funny is that?
I wonder if they're going to be dunks or if they're going to be. I wonder what he's going to go with.
I don't know. That'd be
a fun follow-up question at the at your. I don't know when Sean's media availability will be. I don't know if it's Monday or. Is he doing it tomorrow or no?
I would be very surprised if he's doing it tomorrow. I think rightfully so. These guys get 3 days off and chill. So I would assume it's going to be on Monday. I assume nobody's going to be back to work for a couple days. But I'll follow up on that for sure. You know, that's a fun thing to follow up on. And I can even try to I'll follow up on that later. But the play was they were never going to go for it, and they got him to jump and that sort of thing. First of all, coaching wise, help us. Tell us. Anybody can call the signals?
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of times in hostile road environments or just loud stadiums in general. You know, a lot of much to the chagrin of John Gruden, a lot of college offenses have gone to the clap.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's typically done obviously by the quarterback, but there's other times where the quarterback gives raises their leg, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the actual guard that's kind of looking back, peeking over his inside shoulder. And then nowadays it used to be that you would slap the center in the hip to let him know that the quarterback has given it. Now they're actually, you watch Quinn Miners, they're actually putting their hand in front of the center's eye.
Interesting.
It's interesting because I actually thought that would be something that could potentially be construed as trying to draw the defense off sides.
Interesting.
But verbal cadences can be called by anybody. In fact, there's been times where I've had the center make a verbal cadence in that where the quarterback does raise their leg. He'll give a little head bob and then a say go. And the center's the one, because the potentially the offensive line can't actually hear anything that triggers movement to get everybody to get off the line of scrimmage at the same time. Having a guard do it though is new. That's different for me. And what I would tell you is that if there were motions, then I would tell you that the guard doing it, that would be an indicator to the defense that the ball can't be snapped, because you're going to time up a motion with a guard yelling the cadence, and there's no way that could actually be triggered by the guard, because if there's a guy in motion and a 318-pound offensive lineman that is a lumberjack is responsible for going side hut, side go, hut one, hut two, hut three, right? And then typically you would be concerned as an offensive guy that the ball would be snapped and actually hit the motion man in the leg and potentially lead to a catastrophic play.
So the defense needs to be a little smarter there. Hey, it's Miners. The guard is calling things out. They're definitely not snapping this ball, everybody.
Right. I didn't think they were gonna snap the ball anyway. Just analytically, you've got to kick a field goal there, man.
Yeah, I like the play though, because why not?
It's smart by Sean. There's nothing to lose. Nothing to lose at all. And you gain everything.
Especially when there's no debate for the entire offense that we are not snapping the ball. Snapping the ball. I'm sure there may be some things, well, we're going to snap the ball. We might not snap the ball. We may not, something like that. But in this particular circumstance, it's forget it. We're not doing it at all. Sure. So that's the sort of behind the scenes story there. One of only 2 penalties on the Chiefs. All right, we'll dig into some other elements of the game in terms of how angry Broncos fans are about things in just a second.
There's a world of flavor out there, and to find it, you have to take the journey. Journey Spice Company handcrafts the most premium spice and seasoning blends that have no sugar, no salt, are certified USDA organic, non-GMO, vegan-friendly, and always planet-friendly. You are going to love serving amazingly delicious creations while knowing you helped reduce single-use plastics. Make sure to search for Journey Spice Company on Amazon today.
Journey Spice, what do you got there, Coach? Oh, you froze a little bit. What does that say? As a 2-touchdown favorite.
First start, the Denver Broncos barely won again. Sorry, not impressed. Sincerely, Skip Bayless. Take that, buddy.
Okay, let's talk about angry fans and the heat that the Broncos are going to get. Deserved or not deserved?
Not deserved. They're 13 and freaking 3 DMac, and they swept the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time in how long?
A sweep? It's got to be like, well, probably the 2014 season. It wasn't the 2015 season. I guarantee you I don't guarantee it, but I think it would probably be the 2014 season, a sweep. They actually lost to the Chiefs. In fact, it's a famous game in 2015. It's the game that Peyton Manning had a 0 quarterback rating at halftime and was booed off the field, and they were losing 20-0. That's where Peyton Manning got hurt, and Brock Osweiler came in to try to save the day. So that stands out in the Super Bowl year. The last time the Broncos beat Kansas City in Kansas City was 2015. Yep. So a sweep was probably 11 years ago, and beating them was, 9 football seasons ago. So
I think the sweep was, if we see it right there, I think it was 2012.
A sweep was 2012. Okay, all right, I'll take your word for
it. We're gonna yell at the clouds with the Broncos 13-3 with the sweep of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm not gonna apologize for seeing a sad Travis Kelce. I'm not gonna apologize for the shots up in the press box of Taylor Swift being ones that are really not that of a celebratory mood or a wow, everything's just great in that little couple's life. No, things are not great right now from a football perspective for Travis Kelce. This is an achievement. Was it perfect? No. Was it hard to watch? Yeah, it was. Have the Broncos proven under Sean Payton to be very content with having football contests that lead to wins against bad football teams being really ugly? Yeah. And it's along the way, you know what you've gotten yourself? You've gotten yourself 13 wins with 1 to play because you've done that. You've chosen to just win football games, play smart, allow the game to come to you, not try to go out and put on not try to make Mike Sanford's prediction of, I think, what did I predict? 42-3.
You guys were out of control on the morning sprint on Friday, Friday. What am I talking about? On Wednesday. You guys, I was like, what are you guys looking at? What are you guys expecting? I mean, no offense and all, but like, what were you thinking? How did you think this was going to go tonight?
I thought Chris Oladokun was going to be horrible, and I thought the Broncos would have scored on their first 2 drives, as they should have, DMac. They should have scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives, and then all of a sudden you force a horrible, 4-year practice squad quarterback to try to play catch-up, and then you get takeaways.
I got you. Right. Okay, that's fair.
He's not good. The guy had 60-some-odd yards passing, brother. I mean, he's not a good football.
The stops, the key for this game to keep it close, I see where you're going, was the 0 for 2 for the Broncos in the red zone. So it's 6, not 14, and the Chiefs didn't have to chase. Not really. And they only had to chase in the end. But here's what I saw from Oladokun, and I know it was a very small sample size. I could see the guy could move. I'm not saying he's a big runner. But I thought it was going to be, and I thought they would try to get him to let go of the ball when he did have to pass as quickly as humanly possible. I think was he only sacked 1 time?
It was only twice. It was like a Tillman,
1 time.
Yeah, it was like, I think there were a couple halves on that.
1 time. Yeah, he was sacked 1. Oh, it was Tillman and Ellis, Jonah Ellis. And
Jonah Ellis. Yeah, Jonah Ellis. Yeah. Hey, Jonah Ellis is actually, that's some guns playing some good football right now.
Jonah Ellis had a nice little run there, man, with the TFL and a sack.
Jonah Ellis actually right now is playing better football than Nick Bonito.
Wow, I got to think about that for really. Are you being
eye test?
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you remember what Nick Bonito has said about how he's playing since the bye week?
Yeah, I do remember that, and it's it rhymes with gas.
Yeah,
how he was playing,
or like Mass, like where you're the state of Massachusetts.
Yes,
you're from.
That's where I'm originally from. Yes. So, listen, I'm happy for the win on a short week. Okay, these short weeks suck. These division games are tough. I think you throw Christmas in, Coach. I think that is something. I don't think it's the ideal thing. Sean did mention that, by the way, afterwards. I think it's more challenging for teams. By the way, what was the score at halftime, brother?
13-10.
I don't think so.
Was it not? That was going to the 4th. Sorry.
No.
7'6", 6'7". 6'7", what 6'7". Oh man. Hey, you know what I missed out on an opportunity last week. Remember when I said what's the Chiefs record? It was after I think the Broncos beat them and they went to it was like a week after the Broncos beat them.
Yeah.
They dropped to 6-7, and I made a big deal of it that week. And
yeah,
walked a couple people down the path being like, "Hey, man, you know what the record of the Kansas City Chiefs is?" Oh, there it is, halftime 6.
Your boy took a photo.
I missed an opportunity before this loss for the Kansas City Chiefs to say that, hey, let's just check in on the Chiefs record. What is it? It was the old 6-9er. It was the 6-9, man. They went from 6-7 to the 6-9.
All right. It's Christmas night, and I hope everybody. Did you and your family have a one? I'm so happy your parents were here. That's great to hear.
Hey, DMac, all I know is that I'm outside doing this broadcast.
That's awesome.
In December, I'm on my freaking deck right there. You can see a little wind blowing, but
yeah, it's beautiful.
Pretty awesome that we have had these weathers. I mean, like my car said 81 degrees on my daughter's birthday when I was driving around December 22nd in Denver, Colorado, of all places.
Crazy.
Wild.
Crazy.
Al Gore, man, you remember when Al Gore invented the internet and then he also invented global warming? I think he was like really invented both of them, man. Like he really invented global warming.
He nailed it.
He really did.
He drilled it.
It's kind of like when my guy said when Lloyd Christmas said that John Denver's full of shit, man. I actually am starting to say that, like, Al Gore, man, you were right, bud. This place is really, the polar ice caps are going to fall apart here pretty soon.
Can I tell you the funniest? This is funny. I blame Mosier. Don't blame Mosier. Mosier's hanging on by a thread when it comes to football in the first place, Coach.
Yeah, he's hanging on by a thread in life.
The fact that he knows there's a game is like
major accomplishment.
Listen, the reason why I predicted 23-13 is I thought the game was more or less going to go exactly like it did. I did think the Broncos would be more. I thought they were just going to get to a bigger lead, frankly, and some quirky things happen in the NFL. And look at the Raiders game. Now, the Raiders game was a one-score game, was a touchdown win, but you didn't have to sweat it out. You did have to sweat it out a little bit tonight. You did.
Yeah.
You had to sweat it out.
Don't you feel like that Thursday night game against the Raiders was pretty similar, though?
Yes. And you know what? Sean was fooled in that one, too.
He was.
Game plan-wise, Sean was fooled in that one, too. So, okay. Heading into what? Do you like the Texans' chances against the Chargers or not?
I do. I think it's going to be a good game.
Okay.
I think that Texans defensively and actually the Texans' health is a lot better than the Chargers' health. And I don't know if you've had much time to really look at it, but man, the Chargers injury report, and I know we've talked about both tackles being hurt from, starting at the very beginning of the season. And, Denzel Perryman's out for a suspension for this Sunday and the next week against the Broncos. That's a banged up football team. I think that I want the Chargers to win, DMac. I want them to win because I think for the Broncos we keep saying the Broncos play down to competition, right? Like they play down to the level of whoever they have on the schedule, or they play up. And I think the Jaguars game is kind of the one game, and the game got away from you a little bit. And you turn the ball over against a team that takes the ball away, and the Jaguars, and you didn't take the ball away. And you don't. The Broncos don't take the ball away. But pretty much other than that, I feel like the Broncos have played up to the level of their competition, home and away.
Yeah.
And I want the Broncos to get back into a little bit of a, hey man, Empower Field, dry run for the postseason. In order to do what you want to do in the playoffs, you got to do something significant. You got to before the season on the morning sprint, 10 to noon. I said it probably 15 times. I've said it throughout the year. For this to be viewed as a success in my eyes, you've got to take the next right step in the AFC West. And I said it wasn't about the Chiefs. I didn't care about the Chiefs. I didn't. Either the Chiefs were going to be so out there and good and Mahomes is doing his thing, or they were going to fall apart and it wasn't going to be about the Chiefs. To me, it was about the Broncos and Sean Payton versus the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, because that's somebody that has had Sean Payton's freaking number.
Right.
It's Jim Harbaugh. Because Jim Harbaugh, whether he has Justin Herbert to bail him out of it this year, whatever, he still tries to acquit himself and his football team as the quintessential bully on the block. And the Broncos have not yet been able to prove that they can take down the bully.
Well, we'll leave it there. For the game to mean nothing, the Patriots, who are 13.5-point favorites, would have to lose to the Jets, and the Chargers would have to lose at home to the Texans. And that would force that Chargers game to mean absolutely nothing. I understand what you're saying, but unless those two miraculous things happen, that game against the Chargers is going to be big time, period. The end. For all sorts of reasons. Bo Nix did talk about that today. Bo Nix also did say, I don't know why we always keep it so close. But, that's who you are. That is the identity of this team, Coach, it's who they are. But that does mean, Coach, they do beat teams by those margins. They do win close games, not lose close games. That is true.
Do you remember last year's, DMac, one of your bits a year ago was that the Kansas City Chiefs were the worst 15-1 football team in NFL history.
Right.
Remember how much you said that? They're awful. They're gross. They're terrible.
Right.
Mahomes' stats are
Correct.
awful. And you know what? You were right. You were right. And your take came to fruition. But when did it come to a real fruition? In the damn Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the next year. So, but that's probably a team ending their legacy, ending their run, whereas the Broncos are doing this as their comeuppance is happening. So it's that is true though. I didn't say that 10 million times. I was like, they're going to be the worst Super Bowl champions of all time. But
they ended up being one of the worst Super Bowl runner-ups or the NFL champion runner-ups in the history.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know where they got? They got to the Super Bowl through the AFC.
They did.
And what I would tell you about that is that the same argument could be made about the Denver Broncos right now, because Bo Nix, he's played in 13 games that have been decided by a one-score outcome. And in those games, Bo Nix is what? 11-2. 11-2.
Let me give you some good news, though. Who exactly freaks you out in the NFC right now?
NFC or AFC?
NFC.
The Rams.
Okay. I mean, they can't seem to play defense, my friend. And
would you have said going in that the Raiders are a juggernaut defensively?
No.
Would you go in and say the Jets are a damn juggernaut defensively?
No.
Would you have gone into the season and said the Titans, man, what a juggernaut defensively they are?
No.
And you haven't exactly put up 38 points respectively against those teams.
But you keep it close and you give yourself a shot. Listen, here's the truth. Here's the truth. And it does suck because it's not part of your identity. You don't take the ball away. So when you go -2 to a really good team, you get your ass handed to you like you deserve to against the Jaguars last week. And you won tonight and dominated a team, and you were in the minus because it's a bad team. It's a bad team. The Lions, that game was a joke. Minnesota is not a good team. I mean, they're +5, and the Lions have the ball, and they can tie the game. And then they did get another score because there was a 6 turnover by the Lions. I mean, my God, you're -6. You're -6. You should lose by 30. What are we doing here?
DMac, has the shine ever worn off on a head football coach more in one season?
Yeah.
Is it not so blatantly obvious that Ben Johnson was the goo behind it all?
No doubt about it.
Zero damn obvious now.
Yeah, because Dan Campbell couldn't do math. Like, if I see
plays,
don't even get me started on this. But when you're down 10, you need to score quickly to get the ball back. So kicking a field goal on 3rd down, as happened tonight, is a good idea. Dan Campbell's moronic, where you always go for it on 4th down, is antithetical to math.
Yeah,
and this guy just. The rah-rah nature, the blooms off the rose there, I would hope, in Detroit. Because, yes.
Sorry, man. You were talking about the Broncos and how the defense doesn't take the football away, right? But they also don't give up a ton of points. They're good, typically, like big picture-wise, they're a good defense. They have an offense that doesn't make many mistakes, a quarterback that doesn't consistently he's a top 6 quarterback in the NFL in terms of mitigating damage, right? You know what the Broncos require to be optimized? Good special teams play.
Mm.
And that's why I think tonight was a closer game than it should have been.
That's a good point too.
Because that penalty that you took, it was terrible. The penalty on Chris Abrams' drain, there was a holding penalty on what ended up being a touchback. And now you have the ball in the 10. Like, that's
terrible.
Dude. And you know what, man? Like, and I've said this all year. Like, of course, Chris Abrams' drain is going to be held accountable for that. He's responsible for the penalty.
Yeah.
The special teams penalties, those fall under the leadership and direction of special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi.
Yeah.
And then give up a 40-plus yard return against the Chiefs to give them life in another short field that leads directly to points.
What are we doing?
Can't do it. And then really the only other thing that really was consequential to this outcome was one turnover the Broncos had. That's like, if your special teams unit's not playing great, your defense doesn't create takeaways, and you're an offense that can't have bad plays, negative plays, that's a lot of pressure to play with. You can't throw one pick. I mean, the dang Lions had 5 giveaways, and they're still in the game.
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine right now if the Broncos ever turn the ball over 5 times?
Again, especially against a good team, it would be a nightmare. Yeah,
it'd be a nightmare.
It'd be an absolute. They were
it was a nightmare against the Jaguars. You turned it over twice.
-2.
It felt like 100.
Yep. Yeah, it's the quirkiest thing that the Broncos, because they were -1 tonight, so they'll be -5 for the season in giveaway takeaway with 13 wins. We're gonna have to do a little research to figure out the last team to have 13 wins with a -5 in giveaway takeaway for the season.
Right.
That's got to be. I'm going to guess the Broncos are in a class by themselves on that one.
100%.
So, and the craziest thing here's just on this one, it doesn't make any sense because of the pressure that they're not going to catch the Bears for most sacks unless they get 8 sacks against Herbert on Sunday or a week from Sunday.
Don't. They're not going to sack Herbert 8 times, but I think the last time they played, they hit him a bunch.
Well, because here's what was going on tonight too. You can't win in the NFL playing the way the Chiefs did. There's 0 chance. It's ridiculous to try to win like they were playing today. But
know what it was? It was Iowa football. University of Iowa football.
Yeah, it gave you a chance, barely a chance today. But if the Chiefs were to play that style of offense and defense for a year, it would be a miracle if they had 3 wins. A miracle. But it gave them a chance tonight. All right.
Last time the Broncos played the Chargers, they sacked Justin Herbert 5 times.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger took a lot of sacks and he won 2 Super Bowls. Like, sometimes you do take sacks because you need things to develop because you are, guess what, throwing the ball down the field.
You're attempting to make plays down the field.
You're trying to play football, so you may give up some sacks. The Chiefs were not trying to play real NFL football tonight, and the Broncos got caught up in that wash a little bit, and that's the truth.
Yeah, and they won.
They won. That's the bottom line.
They got to 13 wins.
Are you on Channel 9 tomorrow?
No, there's no Channel 9 tomorrow.
Okay, so I will see you. Are you done with the family? Oh, by the way, the Nuggets led by 14 going into the 4th quarter. And so we got to see if they can hang on to that. This would be a unbelievable. You realize this would be a ridiculous win by the Nuggets tonight, right?
3 starters down.
I mean, I actually let me check real quick before we sign out here. And where they're at.
They're up by 12.
12 with
101-89 with 6 to go. 6:53.
The amazing
what I was
thing
going to
pull
tell you
off.
is I will not be in the studio tomorrow, and I actually haven't told my my lovely co-host that, but I'm going to be doing the show from a location near the airport because I'm going to be flying. I'm flying about 1:00 to the Snoop Dogg Bowl. I'm doing the national broadcast tomorrow. The Miami of Ohio Redhawks, defending Snoop Bowl champions. Snoop Bowl champs are hosting, well, not hosting, but they're playing against Fresno State. DMac, yesterday was a fairly slow sports day. Did you happen to catch one of the greatest football games that I did not expect to be that good?
Oh, the Hawaii game.
Bowl. Hawaii versus Cal with two like massive bench clearing brawls and plays made and back and forth. It was an awesome.
It was
football.
awesome. Yeah,
it was so fun. I don't like it. It was. I looked at my dad. I'm like, I feel like this is watching old Colt Brennan Hawaii football. Man, it was awesome. It was really cool.
I can't say I watched a lot of it, but I tuned in. I tuned in at the end. You
never know. Bowl games are like you can. Everybody said they're dead and stuff. Every once in a blue moon, it's kind of like going to a Major League Baseball game. Between like. We go to a game between like the Rockies and the Guardians when both teams are, like sub 30% winning percentage. You might see something that happens that's like going to be in a trivia question for the next 100 years. You never know.
Right.
It's the thing about baseball and bowl games I'd put in that same vein.
All right, homeboy, you're the best. I hope everybody liked it tonight. You can like and subscribe, which would help, and get yourself some Journey Spice at Amazon.com. Use the code Get Spicy and save yourself 10%. Thank you, Andon and Rosa.
Love
guys
you,
are the
Andy and
best.
Rosa. Merry Christmas and all the things.
All right, we'll talk to you next time.
Even though that hurts going down, you can't spit it out. You have to swallow it. That's the truth.